And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2021 NOSSCAR GT Cup Series hosted here on Gran Turismo Sport. We are live and gathered here, 12 drivers set to take the green flag at Mount Panorama Motor Racing Circuit here in Australia on GT Sport. And 12 drivers from 5 different countries, actually, being led to the line by the pole sitter Even Steven, the two-time NOSSCAR World Champion in that Audi R8. Erto making his debut here today in second, and Jesse Carlson in third. The green lights are on. These cars are rocking and rolling here. Mount Panorama Motor Racing Circuit for round 12 of the season. 7 races remaining, including this one, and it's a big day. It's a big night, folks. Some of these drivers need a lot of points to make a run for that championship and run down the points leader, Even Steven. And Even Steven doing what Even Steven does best. He's out front, he's leading, and he's trying to build a big cushion just in case he's unable to attend a race later this season. And Jesse Carlson off into the barrier here over in turn 2. And there was definitely contact made between he and Erto. It was a battle for second, and as a result, the Brazilian driver of Tony Oliveira jumps up into third, making his debut here in the GT Cup Series as well. Bill Baldwin runs in 5th, tried to complete the pass on Jesse Carlson, couldn't quite get the job done. There's Juicy J in the number 18 Nissan GTR running in 6th. Silt Strider, former race winner here in the NOSSCAR GT Cup Series, running in 7th. Timac scored in 8th. Scorpion scored in 9th. Rounding out the top 10 is Agus from Argentina. 12 drivers on track, rocking and rolling. And you can see there's already a challenge for the race lead. From wet, rainy conditions in Austria at the Red Bull Ring, here we are the very next week in night conditions in the dark in Australia. And these drivers have their hands full with a whole different kind of challenge. The view is beautiful over from where they just were. You can see the lights in the city from over there. And now they work their way down the longest stretch of the of the circuit. There's a slight right bend here, and then they're going to come up to a hard chicane. It's a heavy braking zone. It's a passing zone as well. These drivers will be trying to use the draft all the way down that long straightaway and have position on them by the time they get to the corner there. Erto wasn't able to get quite close enough, so Even Steven still remains your race leader in the number 15 Audi R8, and you can see his right front brake rotor glowing already, and they only completed lap 1. It's a long, challenging circuit, a lot of elevation changes, a couple of blind turns, but it offers a little bit of everything. Chicanes, figure S's, swinging turns, sharp turns, a couple of long straightaways. So the draft will be used, and the fact that it is a 60-minute endurance race really opens the door for strategy for these drivers. Some might take a 2-stop strategy, some may take a 3-stopper. And we've seen some drivers push it to the 30-minute mark, the halfway mark of these races, and make it on a 1-stop. So we never really know what we're going to see here in the NOSSCAR GT Cup Series. Tomac up a handful of positions into the 6th place position. Silk Strider in 7th. I believe earlier in this broadcast I said Strider's a former winner in this series. He is not. He's still looking for that first career GT Cup Series win. He's a former race winner in the NOSSCAR World Championship, though, and that came back in 2018. How about Scorpion? His best finish this season is 4th. He's had a couple of strong runs, and he's had a couple of strong pushes for a podium, and he's come short a couple of times, and he would really like to change that here tonight in Australia. Shadow running in 9th. Jesse Carlson, after a couple of mistakes here on lap 1, now they're working lap 2, he has fallen back into the 9th place position, just worked his way back by Shadow, and we can tell you that Agus out of Argentina has already pulled off the racetrack. He is done for the day, and he will finish in the 12th place position. And back for second is on. Oliveira from Brazil trying to take 2nd place away from Erto. Both of them making their debut here tonight in the NOSSCAR GT Cup Series, both having a solid start to this race. And he does it. There was minor contact between the two, but he completes the pass and puts his car in front of Erto's Lexus. Erto now running back in 3rd. That's the McLaren. Tony has elected to bring on out here to Mount Panorama Motor Racing Circuit, and it seems to be working for him. We haven't seen too many drivers be able to stay with even Steven for more than about 5-10 minutes at some of these tracks, and then there's other races where we see 3, 4, 5 drivers battling for the lead all race long. But as of now, it kind of does look like Tony Oliveira has something for even Steven if he can just keep the pace going the way that he has been. Now that he's worked his way around Erto for that second place position, there's nothing in between he and even Steven, and a problem there for even Steven. The defending champion of this series, he drove the corner a little too hard. He actually made minor contact with the wall with the right side of his car, and now he's got Tony Oliveira from Brazil all over his back bumper looking for the race lead here in Mount Panorama. Erto running in third has lost touch with these top two just a little bit. Bill Baldwin staying right there with Erto for the most part. Juicy J on his own in fifth. Ty Mack on his own in sixth. Scorpion has Silt Strider right behind him, and that's the battle for seventh. Actually, I think Scorpion just took that position away about a half a lap ago, and now Tony Oliveira getting closer and closer. Even Steven just behind them. Erto and the Lexus made contact with the wall coming out of that last turn, and that is definitely not a place that you want to have contact like that, because it's a long straightaway here, and it really kills your speed, and he has pulled off the racetrack. And that is a shame. Erto, as you can see, running in third, and he disappears there on the straightaway, electing to pull off the racetrack and call it a race. Evidently, the damage was too much, and he's given it up, and he is going to pull it onto pit road, and he will finish, I believe, in the 11th place position here at Mount Panorama. Yes, he will. Robert Lohman Sr. rounding out the top 10 in the 10th place position. He is the last car on the racetrack. Very much a survivor. He'll be here until the very end, and he often gets top 10 finishes as a result. It's been all even Steven so far, but he's got a mirror full of Tony Oliveira. We'll keep our eye on that every now and then. Bill Baldwin on his own, running in third. A number of podiums for him this season. He's the two-time NOSSCAR Super GT Series champion in those GR1 cars, and he's got 5 career wins here in the GT Cup Series. Looking to make it 6 here today. And the Godfather, Bill Baldwin, off to a great start, all the way up into third already, and he qualified outside the top 5, so it's great to see a solid start. And I'll tell you that the brake rotors on these cars are already beginning to glow, especially on the right front, I find, on a lot of these cars. For Bill, it was the left front there, but I'm sure that if we had a camera looking at the right side of his car, the right front was probably doing the exact same thing. Juicy J, right front brake rotor glowing heavy through this uphill tight section of the circuit. Currently scored in fourth. Solid start for him. Former NOSSCAR champion on NASCAR 15 Victory Edition. Also former NOSSCAR champion on Supercross. Holds the record for the most wins in a single season for NOSSCAR on Supercross with 15. He went 15 for 15 in the 2019 season. Quite the accomplishment for him. 8 riders in each race, and Juicy J just kept on winning. Still searching for that very first NOSSCAR GT Cup Series win. Been running full-time in the Super GT Series this year as well, and he's been up there knocking on the door of podiums and wins in that series. Close to victory lane a couple of occasions, not only here in GT Cup, but Super GT as well. And Ty Mack, Rolex 8 winner for the Super GT class this year, and that was in the GR1 cars. He's got 2 wins this season. The GT Cup Series, currently second in the point standings, and he overdrove that corner up there, and I believe Juicy J did the same. The 2 Nissan GTR teammates getting a little bit off sequence there, getting out of their rhythm. Ty is actually going to take the 4th place position away in this exchange, but yeah, both of them had some problems over there, and it could have been much, much worse than what it was. There's Scorpion. It's quite a distance back from those 2 drivers that are battling inside the top 5. But a solid run for Scorpion, driver out of France. He was in that Rolex 8 event as well as good friend Bean SKP, a driver out of France as well. Finished on the podium in the GT Cup class. He was very happy for him. Best finish this season for Scorpion is fourth. Looking to better that here today. Jesse Carlson qualified up in the top 3. A couple of mistakes on lap 1 and 2 have put him back on the leaderboard a little bit. He was actually running in the 11th position at one point. Since then, he's rebounded back to 7th. And Siltstrider is on pit road for service, and it's definitely not a scheduled pit stop. It's very early, so I'm thinking that Strider had some sort of problem on the racetrack and maybe got some damage and needed to come to pit road to repair it. Shadow running in 9th. Robert Lohman Sr. rounding out the top 10. He just fell 1 lap down to your race leaders. He's having some handling difficulties, but he's doing a good job getting out of the way of everybody, especially in this tight and narrow section of the racetrack here. This uphill section's got a lot of blind turns. These lead cars, they're not going to see them coming when they come flying around one of these bends and down one of these hills. They're not going to know he's there until they get there. New race leader, folks. Tony Oliveira out of Brazil. Driving the McLaren, and we've seen the McLaren have a strong performance this season. Before, it was Nikito qualifying on the pole. He was going with a 3-stop strategy a couple of weeks ago, and then an engine failure took him out of the event. And I'll tell you, folks, he had a win or a runner-up finish locked up and in the bag in that one, so it was really a heartbreaker. Nikito out of Argentina, and now Tony Oliveira, the Brazilian driver, jumps in the McLaren, and he's leading here at Mount Panorama, or he was. He overdrove turn 1, the left-hand turn over there. Hooked it a little too hard getting in there, and got the car off into the gravel trap. Slowed his speed greatly, and even Steven was able to take advantage and take the race lead. While all of this is happening, it's allowing Bill Baldwin to close a little bit of ground. Not a substantial amount of ground, but chipping at it little by little, every lap, every corner. Back and forth. Did not come in with the hopes and expectations of winning this one. He says he likes the track, but it's just a tough track. It's not easy to get up there and battle inside the top 3 for one of these podiums, and Ty came in with the expectations of a top 5 finish and a good point stake. Strider back on the racetrack. He's the only one amongst the top 8 that has made a green flag pit stop so far, and he looks a little better now. No damage that I could tell on that race car anymore. And evidently coming to pit road to repair whatever damage he did have was the right call, because that last lap time was a very quick one, and he's beginning to reel in a couple of the cars in front of him. He's catching Jesse Carlson, and Jesse with a problem there. He just bounced off the wall, and now he's off the racetrack. And a problem for Jesse Carlson. He totals the car over in that uphill, tight, narrow section of this racetrack, and he is done for the day. He'll finish in 10th place. We have 9 cars left on the racetrack at Mount Panorama. Leaderboard on the left, folks, and the leader is working lap 7 right now. A long, challenging circuit. In these GR3 cars with no custom tuning, they're turning anywhere from 203 to 208 lap times, depending on the tire wear and the speed that they've been able to carry over into this race. It's the 3rd annual season for the NOSSCAR GT Cup Series, and every year we've got a couple of wild card events. We've got 2 events on ovals. We've got a rain race at the Red Bull Ring, and we have a night race here at Mount Panorama Motor Racing Circuit, and this one has proven to be one of the more challenging events on the schedule each and every year. Throws these drivers a curveball. The track is already challenging enough, and then when you put these drivers in night conditions here, it's a whole different ball game. And Tony Oliveira in the McLaren surrenders 2nd place to come down pit road at the 17-minute mark for scheduled service. And in my opinion, he is close enough to the point where he can make it on 2 stops if he really plays this smart. These 60-minute endurance races, like I said at the top of the broadcast, they really open the door for strategy, and some of these drivers will be expected on pit road at about the 20-minute mark and the 40-minute marks to make this a 2-stop strategy. Some drivers might change it up at the last minute, stretch the fuel until the 30-minute mark, and then 1 or 2 to finish after a 1-stop. And of course, if you're JRB or Nikito or other drivers that are famous for the 3-stopper, you'll be pitting up the 15, 30, and 45-minute marks. And sometimes when it's not a long drive to your pit stall and it's a shorter pit road, sometimes that can be the way to go. Your leader is Even Steven. The battle for the lead has calmed down now that Tony Oliveira has brought that McLaren to pit road. Scorpion and Strider back to pit road as well. 3rd pit stop of the race for Strider, I believe, and 2nd one for Scorpion. UCJ comes to pit road in the Nissan GTR. That is a scheduled pit stop, not a mark on that Mountain Dew Nissan GTR. It's been a solid race for him ever since the green lights turned on. Didn't qualify the greatest, and because of that, he's had to slowly but surely work his way forward. He and Timac both, those 2 Nissan GTRs, have both done an exceptional job here of working their way up the leaderboard. 12 drivers started this race. 12 of them made the trip down under here to Australia to race in round 12 of the 2021 NOSSCAR GT Cup Series season here on Gran Turismo Sport. And as you can see, Even Steven comes to pit road in the Audi R8. He's going to surrender the race lead, and I don't even think he's going to lose the lead. I don't know exactly where Bill Baldwin is on the track right now. Ah, there we go. So Bill is going to take the lead. It's definitely not going to be a wide margin. It'll be the first different leader of the race other than Even Steven. So 2 different leaders so far. Actually, my mistake. Don't forget about Tony Oliveira, who led a lap earlier in this race. The Brazilian driver was making it interesting for quite some time, but got an update here. He is pulling off the racetrack. He is done for the day. He will finish in the 9th place position in his debut. It's been a heartbreaker for some of these drivers, actually. This track will reach out and bite you. So many blind turns, so many different elevation changes. You're battling with traffic. And right now, we're watching Bill Baldwin lead this race, and he's still not going to come to pit road this time by. And you gotta wonder if he's maybe thinking a 1-stop strategy. As you can see, he's in front of Even Steven, but here comes the Audi R8 of Even Steven, is really closing in on Bill Baldwin through this tight section of the track, and now they work their way down the long straightaway, heading towards the chicane and then the final turn. And there you see the run Even Steven got, and he pulls to the outside. He'll have the preferred line for the next turn, and he's going to clear him before they get there anyway. And Even Steven, once again, your race leader. He's got 6 wins this season, looking to make it 7. It's been a very classic Even Steven style of a season so far. 2-time NOSSCAR GT Cup Series champion, 2-time NOSSCAR World Champion. He knows all about victory lane, knows all about winning championships, standing on podiums, and he's looking to do it again here in Australia. One car that has not been to pit road yet is Timac, and now that Bill Baldwin has come to pit road at the 25-minute mark, Timac is going to take over second. Juicy J might be close enough to capitalize on this. No, he's not actually, and I'm not too sure what the problem might have been for Juicy. Actually, we're getting an update. Juicy put at the 21-minute mark, so that's definitely what has put him back. He's already made that scheduled pit stop, and he's been putting those 4 fresh tires to good use, so he might actually be able to leapfrog Bill Baldwin and maybe even Timac at the conclusion of the cycle of pit stops. Beautiful background here. Mount Panorama, city lights on display, but believe me, these drivers aren't paying any attention to those lights right now. They love to bring those lights up here to the circuit and put them around the racetrack. This night race every year Really throws these drivers a curveball. They have their hands full throughout the entire event. Timac was on pit road at the 28-minute mark, and he's down and away. That might be close enough for a one-stop strategy, and as you can see, he came out just behind Bill Baldwin. Bill runs in second, so evidently there was time gained by the Canadian driver in this pit stop exchange. So he's got a safe gap back to his teammate Juicy J. It's about a 14-second gap back to Juicy. Pushing that car for everything it's worth to try to get some distance in between himself and Timac. He knows there's a couple of straightaways on this circuit where Ty can use the draft and draw even closer and maybe even eventually make a move in one of these heavy braking zones. Past the halfway mark of the race, as you can see, Timac is there. He's looking. He's got time still on this long stretch, and he's going to complete the pass, and he's going to take second place away from Bill Baldwin as they head into the chicane right before the final turn. And Bill's going to pit road, guys, and there might be damage on the number 21 Mazda Atenza because this is early. Bill pit at the 18-minute mark of this race, and we know that was plenty good enough for a two-stop strategy, so the fact that he's coming in again already at the 32-minute mark, he's definitely got to have damage on that machine. Well, I don't see any visible damage, but as you can see, he's not changing tires, he's putting a bit of fuel in, but I do truly believe that the primary reason he came to pit road just now was to repair some cosmetic damage to that car. Juicy J nearly was able to take advantage of this and take over the third place position. It's not going to be quite good enough. Yeah, that was a big hit for Bill Baldwin, actually, because he's still in third and he still has a good chance of standing on the podium, but that really cost him a lot of track position compared to your race leader, even Steven, the runner of Timac, and now he's back fallen into the clutches of Juicy J. He still has a large safety cushion over Siltstrider, who scored in fifth. It's nearly a full lap, actually, but yeah, that mistake really put him back a peg, and now he's got to defend third rather than try to defend second. Can't say enough about even Steven and the pace that he's putting on here tonight at Mount Panorama. 7 cars left on the racetrack. Even Steven is working lap 18. Closing in on what would be his 6th win of the season. It's been a wild race from start to finish. He's on a 2-stop strategy, but the pace that he's been putting on has been great enough to the point where Timac on the 1-stop strategy is not going to be close enough to be in front of even Steven after Steven makes that second scheduled pit stop in this race. It's been a smooth and steady race for Timac. No off-course excursions, no contact with the wall, no spins, no problems mechanically or anything like that. Not a mark on the car. Did not bring the strongest car to the circuit here tonight, but he brought confidence. He brought consistency. And he started deep in the field, started back in the 8th position, and he's worked his way up into second. Thought he only had a top 5 car, he probably does, but the attrition in this race and the mistakes made by others, he finds himself in second and looking for a career best finish here at Mount Panorama. Now, in terms of pace, I do believe Bill Baldwin has the second quickest car on the racetrack right now. He's got a lot of time to gather back from Timac if he wants to battle him for that second place position. And the bad news for him is he's going to need to pit one more time. I do believe from this point in the race, they're all going to need to pit one more time with the exception of even Steven. UCJ finally clears Silt Strider, and Strider staying right with them, or doing his best to do that. And a strong run for Juicy. He keeps on short pitting on all of these stints, and he's gaining some track position and track time that way, but as you can see, he's losing ground to Bill Baldwin, and that would be the battle for third. He's going to stay out on the racetrack one more time, not coming to pit road. Working the 41-minute mark of this race. Question is, when do we see Timac come to pit road, or will he? He might be able to make it on one stop. Bill Baldwin will need to come in again, probably just for a splash of fuel. He came back in at about the 32-minute mark of this race, and we don't think that is going to be close enough for him to make it the rest of the way. Strider might be good to go the rest of the way. He's been on pit road several times here today. He's going to hold on, it looks like, for a top 5 finish unless something major happens to the former NOSSCAR World Championship race winner. Big problems there for Robert Lohman Sr. just a moment ago. Back over in turn 2. Overdrove, locked him up, and the car went straight. Heavy contact with the wall, and it happens again, and now he's around over in turn 3. He's going to get it going again. It's definitely not been the race that Robert was hoping for, but he's still on the racetrack and soldiering on. He's currently scored inside the top 10. And as many of you know, the Rolex 8, the 8-hour endurance race at Le Mans, that is round 1 for the Super GT Series and GT Cup Series. And honestly, some of these drivers that you're watching in this race are really still trying to dig out of a hole from not getting points in round 1. Some of those drivers, they include even Steven, Timac, Bill Baldwin. They all elected to run the Super GT class, and they finally have found themselves in the top 5 in the point standings, but there's a few drivers right on their heels that might not have been if those drivers were to have gotten points for the GT Cup Series in round 1 in the Rolex 8. It's brought everybody a little bit closer. It's evened the playing field just a little bit. We now have a couple of extra championship contenders this season as opposed to last season. Most of the names are the same, but a few new faces have really joined the chase for the championship. One of those names you often see, even Steven, folks, arguably the #1 driver for NOSSCAR on Gran Turismo Sport. Nobody's won more championships on this game than he has. He's got the lead. He's going to have to put a lap on Silt Strider, who's running in 5th. The pace that even Steven has been able to put on in tonight's race has been mighty impressive. We've seen this kind of domination before out of him. It's nothing really that new. We just didn't expect it here tonight at a difficult track with the dark conditions here at Mount Panorama. We thought more mistakes would be made. We thought there would be more lead changes and more leaders in this race. But for the most part, it's been all even Steven. Tony Oliveira out of Brazil, he led a lap. Bill Baldwin, he led a lap. And that's the list of leaders in this race we have for you. 2 laps led for Tony, 1 lap led for Bill, and even Steven has led the rest here at Mount Panorama as he continues to soldier on with under 10 minutes remaining. No signs of Timax slowing down too much. His lap times actually have dramatically slowed over the last 6 laps, but he's got a good enough pace to the point where he should be able to stay in front of Bill Baldwin. As the laps wind down, both of those two are going to be very close on fuel. In fact, I'm pretty sure Bill is going to need to come in for a splash, but we're going to have to see how this all goes. And the good news for Bill, if he does need to come down for a splash of fuel before the end of this thing, he's got plenty of time. And Juicy J is, I don't know, about 3/4 of the track behind Bill at this point. Bill is closer to coming up and putting a lap on Juicy than Juicy is coming around and challenging him for that 3rd place position. So Bill can really do what he wants. He's got a lot of freedom here. If he's got damage, if he's short on fuel, he can bring that car to pit road without any costs, any consequence. Pardon me. Well, how about it, folks? Under 7 minutes remaining. Even Steven putting on a racing clinic here. He's still got that 2.1 second penalty, but he's been slowly burning it off as the laps wind down. We don't have too many left here. These drivers are running over 2-minute lap times in the GR3 cars with no custom tuning. It's a very large road course. And so I do believe we're going to see the white flag here before too long. Been an impressive night for Even Steven. 6 wins this season, the current points leader, and looking to hold on to win another NOSSCAR GT Cup Series championship. He's won a championship in a Subaru, and he's looking to do it again here, but this time in an Audi R8. Timac 2 wins this season, 3rd in the point standings coming into this race. Knew that he needed to gain as many points as he possibly could to keep the gap and keep himself alive, keep the gap as small as possible between himself and the points leader. And he's done everything he could. Best of the rest, I guess you could say. Even Steven putting on a racing clinic, and whenever Even Steven is going into this domination phase that we've seen many times, it's key to just follow behind him and finish 2nd or 3rd and hope that he makes a mistake at the next circuit. It's really all you can do. That Audi R8 has been fast today and all season long. Normally we see more Mazda Atenzas on track for the events here this season, but Bill Baldwin has been carrying the Mazda banner all race long and doing a pretty good job. He's in 3rd. They brought 3 cars to the Blue Moon Bay Oval race. One of them parked it in victory lane. The other 2 finished in the top 6. So whenever they all put their heads together and bring a multi-car team, Mazda really does excel here in the NOSSCAR GT Cup Series. You can really see the front brake rotors glowing on Bill's car. I don't think Bill's going to get to the line before the clock hits 60. And the clock has hit the 1-hour point of this race. Timac is going to come around and claim the 2nd place position. He'll finish on the podium here in Australia. It's his best career finish in the GT Cup Series at Mount Panorama. Bill Baldwin. 5 career wins in this series. He's going to have to wait another day for 6. He finishes 3rd. Mount Panorama. Siltstrider going to take home a top 5 finish, and after the struggles he's had today, multiple pit stops to repair damage, he'll definitely take that, I'm sure. But it was all about Even Steven, folks, and it often is. He works his way through the chicane for the final time, and coming up to the final turn here at Mount Panorama Motor Racing Circuit. Coming around, clean and smooth. 7 wins now this season for him. He extends that points lead. Even Steven, everybody. Showing us why he's a 2-time NOSSCAR GT Cup Series champion. Congratulations to Even Steven. Congratulations to the Audi team. And thank you to the fans, to the viewers, for tuning in to round 12 of the 2021 NOSSCAR GT Cup Series season, hosted here on Gran Turismo Sports, the 3rd annual season for this series, driving the GR3 cars with no custom tuning and the balance of performance setting turned on. Good night, everybody, and stay fast.